Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. As the founder of the Congressional Out of Poverty Caucus, I rise today to continue talking about the ongoing crisis of poverty in our country. Yesterday, unfortunately, with the Supplemental Poverty Report, we learned that poverty continues to impact nearly 50 million Americans, including 16 million children all across our country and in every congressional district. My home state of California tops the list, followed by our nation's capital, the District of Columbia, Arizona, Florida, and Georgia. Mr. Speaker, I ask unanimous consent to add this report summary into the record.
Without objection.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This election day, low-income Americans, the working poor, middle-income Americans, every American spoke loud and clear. They voted for strengthening the middle class and putting people back to work. And they voted for Congress to get back to doing the work of the American people, to strengthen our economy for all Americans, to create economic opportunities that will lift millions of families out of poverty and into the middle class. Most importantly, the American people voted to reject job-killing cuts and attacks to Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security. What they don't want is for our country to be rushed into urgent budget decisions by the false threat of a so-called fiscal cliff. Well, Mr. Speaker, I don't buy it, and the American people don't believe it either. This economic and political gridlock is just another political cliff created by the hostage-taking obstructionism of the Tea Party-controlled Congress. The real cliff is that anyone is facing today is a human cliff, that far too many American families are standing on the edge as I speak. If we don't strengthen our economy for all Americans, millions will be cut off from the only lifeline keeping them from falling off that human cliff and into poverty, and that's unemployment compensation. Far too many people will be cut off from vital programs like employment insurance, the child tax credit, and the earned income tax credit if this Congress fails to act. So it is long past time to come together and to work to find a balanced approach and to get, as Chairman Cleaver just said, the partisan obstructionism that has kept us from moving our economy and our country forward. We've got to stop this. Just 10 years ago, in the year 2000, our nation had a balanced budget, projected surpluses, and a robust economy. The passage of a serious tax cut rapidly ended those surpluses and began to, quite frankly, explode the debt. The Bush-era tax cuts have already cost over $2.2 trillion in federal revenue since they were enacted, and we could not afford to allow them to be made permanent. And let's not forget, Mr. Speaker, this Congress has already voted to cut $1.5 trillion in discretionary spending enacted through the 2011 Budget Control Act. Low-income Americans are already hurting from multiple rounds of cuts to programs and benefits that they rely on. Our middle class and our working poor have already done their part, and we cannot continue to attempt to balance the budget on the backs of the most vulnerable Americans, our poor, our seniors, our children, and our disabled. So I hope all members of Congress will follow the President's lead and support his call for ending the Bush tax cuts above $250,000, ending the billions in subsidies for big oil, and closing the countless loopholes that allow huge corporations and the super rich to avoid paying what they owe. In addition, we can find billions in additional savings by making smart and targeted cuts to our defense budgets. Our military leaders have already outlined cuts that will not put our brave men and women in harm's way, at risk, or weaken the national security of our nation. Yet we know that there are billions in waste, fraud, and abuse in the defense budget that can be saved if we can just account for the hundreds of billions in spending by ensuring the Pentagon can pass an audit. Mr. Speaker, we face many challenges, but we must not allow our political crisis to create an economic crisis for millions of Americans who are struggling. Now is not the time to turn our backs on struggling families just to preserve tax giveaways to millionaires and billionaires. We must come together to wage a war on poverty and end the war on the poor. And finally, as 350 economists have said, we need jobs first. With recovery, deficit reduction will come by its own accord thanks to increased revenues in an improving economy. They went on to say that public outlay for jobs and recovery come first, growth is restored, and revenues follow. Budget cuts only lead to a deeper slump. Thank you, and I yield the balance of my time.